In the heart of the Appalachian Mountains lies a dense forest known as Whispering Woods. Its name comes from the eerie phenomenon that occurs within its depths, a haunting whisper that seems to emanate from the very trees themselves. Legend has it that these whispers are the voices of those lost in the woods, forever trapped in its dark embrace. This is the true tale of a group of friends who dared to venture into Whispering Woods one fateful autumn evening, unaware of the horrors that awaited them. It all began with a dare. Sarah, a thrill-seeker with a penchant for the supernatural, had heard the rumors about Whispering Woods and was determined to uncover the truth. She gathered her closest friends. Alex, a skeptic who never turned down a challenge. Mark, a laid-back jokester. And Emily, a cautious bookworm, and proposed a camping trip deep into the heart of the forest. At first, the idea seemed ludicrous, but as Sarah spun tales of ghostly apparitions and unexplained disappearances, curiosity got the better of them. They agreed to embark on the adventure, dismissing the warnings of locals who claimed the woods were cursed. As dusk settled over the mountains, the four friends loaded their gear into Sarah's SUV and set out for Whispering Woods. The drive was uneventful, but as they entered the forest, a heavy silence descended upon them. The air grew thick with the scent of pine and decay, and the shadows seemed to stretch endlessly into the trees. Despite their unease, the friends pressed on, following a narrow dirt road deeper into the woods. They laughed and joked to dispel their fears, but with each passing mile, the atmosphere grew more oppressive. It was well past midnight when they finally arrived at their campsite, a small clearing nestled among the trees. They pitched their tents and built a fire, hoping its warmth would ward off the chill that permeated the air. As they sat around the fire, roasting marshmallows and swapping stories, they began to hear it, the faintest whisper on the edge of their consciousness. At first, they dismissed it as the wind rustling through the trees, but soon it grew louder, more insistent. Sarah claimed she could make out words, a sinister voice beckoning them deeper into the woods. Alex scoffed, attributing it to their overactive imaginations, but Emily's blood ran cold. She had read about similar phenomena in her research, a phenomenon known as forest madness, where the isolation and darkness of the woods could play tricks on the mind. Despite her misgivings, Emily couldn't shake the feeling of dread that settled over her like a shroud. She urged her friends to pack up and leave, but Sarah was adamant. They had come this far, and she was determined to uncover the source of the whispers. Against Emily's protests, Sarah produced a tattered book she claimed to have found in an old bookstore, a book of dark rituals said to summon the spirits of the dead. She convinced her friends to participate in a seance, hoping to communicate with whatever entity lurked within the woods. Reluctantly, the others agreed, and they gathered around the fire, holding hands as Sarah recited the incantation. At first, nothing happened, and they laughed nervously, dismissing the ritual as a silly game. But then, the fire flickered and died, plunging them into darkness. A cold wind swept through the clearing, extinguishing their lanterns and leaving them shrouded in blackness. And then they heard it, the whispers, louder and more urgent than before, swirling around them like a malevolent presence. Panic set in as they scrambled to relight the fire, but no matter how hard they tried, the flames refused to catch. And then out of the darkness, they saw it, a figure standing at the edge of the clearing, its eyes gleaming with a malevolent light. Frozen with fear, they watched as the figure stepped forward, its form shifting and changing with each passing moment. It seemed to flicker in and out of existence, as if it were not entirely solid. With a sudden burst of movement, the figure lunged towards them, and they screamed, scrambling to their feet and fleeing into the woods. They ran blindly through the trees, their hearts pounding in their chests as the whispers grew louder, mocking and taunting them at every turn. Branches clawed at their faces, and roots snaked out from the forest floor, threatening to trip them at every step. Hours passed, but still they found no escape from the darkness that surrounded them. They were hopelessly lost, their only companions the echoing whispers that seemed to follow them wherever they went. Exhausted and terrified, They huddled together beneath a gnarled tree, praying for morning to come and release them from their nightmare. But morning brought no relief. Instead, they awoke to find themselves trapped in a waking nightmare, a nightmare from which there was no escape.